What if I told you that the very thing you are sacrificing everything for right now is exactly what will destroy you in the end? You probably wouldn't believe me, most people don't, but neither did Elias until a cold Tuesday morning forced him to face a terrifying reality. If you feel like you are constantly exhausted running relentlessly, but getting nowhere, stop. Whatever you are doing, you need to hear this. Elias lived in Chicago, surrounded by towering steel skyscrapers he helped design, yet he barely had the time to look up at them. He was a lead architect, operating on a dangerous, volatile mix of black coffee and blind ambition. His philosophy was simple: sacrifice the present to secure the future. He missed his younger sister's high school graduation. He skipped his best friend's wedding because of a critical client deadline when his fiancée Clara finally packed her bags and left their apartment after months of feeling invisible. His only response was a distracted nod from behind a glowing laptop screen. Elias convinced himself that one day, when he finally reached the top of the corporate ladder, they would all understand. He would have the money, the status, and the ultimate freedom to finally start living. At 39, Elias got exactly what he wanted. He made senior partner at the firm. He moved into a sprawling penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, but the celebration was entirely silent. He poured himself a glass of expensive bourbon, walked over to the floor-to-ceiling windows, and stared out at the city lights. He checked his phone. It hadn't rung once to congratulate him. There was no one left to call the next morning. The firm's founding partner, a 72-year-old man named Arthur, walked into Elias' new corner office. Arthur looked hollowed out, carrying the heavy, invisible weight of decades spent doing the exact same grind without saying a word. He set a strange object on Elias' pristine glass desk, an antique brass pocket watch. It was visibly broken, the hands permanently stuck. At 6:15, I bought this with my first massive bonus check, Arthur said, his voice raspy and quiet. I promised myself I would stop working so relentlessly and actually start living. When the clock struck 6:15, I set it, broke the winding stem so it would stay there, and told myself it was my ultimate finish line. Arthur looked out the window, his eyes watering. In 70 to Elias, I have millions in the bank, a massive estate in the suburbs, and a family that doesn't even know my favorite color. My wife passed away 3 years ago, and I spent her final months taking conference calls from the hospital corridor. I spent my whole life waiting for the perfect time to start living, and I completely forgot that the clock was actually ticking. Arthur's words hit Elias like a freight train. He looked down at the broken brass watch and then caught his own reflection in the dark glass of his computer monitor. He saw a man who had successfully traded every meaningful human connection for a brass plaque on a wooden door. He had spent his entire adult life preparing for a future that never arrived, entirely missing their present. The life lesson
Hello?
here
Yes,
isn't
it's me.
that ambition is a
They
bad
said it's
thing,
serious.
it's that tomorrow
I
is
see.
a promise,
What are the
never a
options?
guarantee. We
right.
are so
I'll wait here.
conditioned by society to hustle, to grind, and to sacrifice our todays for a hypothetical someday. But joy, human connection, and peace aren't shiny trophies waiting for you at the finish line of your career. They are flowers you have to remember to water along the path. If you wait until you have enough to start living, you will die waiting. Elias didn't quit his job the next day, but he drastically changed how he lived. He started Leaving the office at 5, he called his sister. He started trading his money for memories, instead of relentlessly trading his time for money. If Eli's story resonated with you and you are ready to stop waiting for someday to start living your best life, hit that subscribe button right now. We post powerful stories like this every single week to keep you grounded, motivated, and focused on what truly matters in life. Don't let your clock run out. Subscribe, drop a like, and let's make today count.